connection. They might find success here against Spacestation. Sonics have proved that Spacestation are not impenetrable. And the Knights, can they continue their run after taking down Ghost last week? That is off the crossbar. No goal early on for Spacestation. Gyro on the transition, and it's taken away.
SSG, the first team to take down the former world champions. And they did it pretty commandingly. In the final game of the series, it was a 6-1 bloodbath.
Well, Sipical on the challenge against AJ will beat Gyro's ball. And AXB, who last season may have been quiet at times, this season he's been much more integral in the offense and was part of the reason they were able to take down the defending world champs. AXB, that high off the ceiling, and Arsenal got a look at it. He actually gets a goal. Spacestation strike first.
Reynolds, he was rotating back to net, but he was on empty. He was on zero for so long. Arsenal puts the shot, and all Reynolds can do is try to half flip and get the save. It wasn't enough. You saw he got a piece of it, but it deflected in.
And so Spacestation, they've been getting most of the shots here in the first minute. Reynolds does get over one defender, but it will be taken away by AXB. Sipical trying to force the ball out. And Spacestation hunting on the line. Sipical in front. The Knights trying to find a way out, but right now Spacestation have them locked in. AXB flips over one in the corner, forces another challenge, but Sipical won't be able to get there, and Gyro will attempt to carry this out. Midfield has been tough.
And that was a good touch from Gyro, getting it underneath the challenge, getting possession back. But still the Knights weren't able to use that to break out of their half. Spacestation's pressure, you see Sipical getting a bump on Reynolds, a good recovery.
And then Arsenal's challenge in midfield. AJ took the boost, tried to take the ball away or slow down AXB. AXB found a pass, but broken up by Gyro. Gyro does get over one. Arsenal will take that ball away to the side. Another shot, pass, no good, broken up by AXB.
Now a challenge from Arsenal. Arsenal getting locked in. You see a backwards deadlock.
Well, he'll get out of there, but Reynolds has a one-on-one, and Sipical makes the save. The Knights trying to find another opportunity. Here's Gyro, AJ, miscommunication, who was going to go for that ball, but Reynolds keeps them locked in. Arsenal's attempted clear. It'll be AJ's who wanted a pass. Sipical, high off the ceiling. AXB back to Arsenal. Shot
lovely.
is good on the demo. 2-0.
Sipical getting the demo. It opens up this chance. Not only did he get the demo, but he got the pass off the ceiling down to AXB. AXB over to Arsenal. The path's cleared by Sipical. Everyone playing their part. Spacestation, like a machine, is chewing up this Knights team. AJ is sitting at 8 points. 8 points, and we just reached the halfway point of the game.
Struggling, I mean, the Knights have struggled to have any sort of offense. They had one or two chances. Gyro has a couple of carries down the field. He looked for a demo there against Sipical, couldn't find him. No, Gyro from his own box. He's got some time. He does force the 50 out now. AJ, his light shot, nothing for Sipical. The Knights just can't get anything going on offense. Reynolds got back to force the touch out to the corner and almost dunked was AJ. AXB back to Sipical. Have to let that go off the backboard.
And that miss from AJ put them in a dire spot. If that shot was on target, that was going to go in. If that was a lower shot, it would have been all over. Spacestation, it looks like they haven't really even broken a sweat.
And Arsenal content just throw this down the pitch and win the touch too. Gyro on the received pass. Will be back to AJ on the rebound. And the Knights just can't find any sort of win on these back boost pads when they get on offense. Here's a chance to find a bump. AXB just gets in the way of the defender. AJ will collect a goal. They're within one.
Despite the rough start, this really opens it up. Reynolds, he backflips into the bump. You saw him actually get the bump, and also he runs into AJ near the end of the play. But Reynolds being aggressive. Sipical missed the ball at the midfield. And there is hope for the Knights.
Well, here comes Typical off the kickoff, taken away by Gyro. Gyro over to Arsenal. Or not Arsenal, that's AJ. All the time, Gyro. Hard across, no one there. Typical will try to carry this out for Space Station. The Knights with Reddles. Arsenal waiting in midfield, he'll take the ball away. Ooh, AJ expecting something a little different from Arsenal there. It's still Space Station's ball. Content to try to win this corner. AJ trying to find a way to wrangle that ball away from Space Station, but every single touch in that corner, you see the Knights desperate. It was a double commit. That's a tee up high, but Space Station will be first to the ball. It's AXB looking for Arsenal, broken up by AJ for now. The Knights have been locked here for 40 seconds. Gyro, attempted flick out. He won't get it done. Typical had read on the ball, but couldn't find the touch, and that was the most disastrous goal I've ever seen. The Knights bumping into each other, and it's a free goal for Space Station.
Typical hits this off the wall. Reddles goes back, and sure enough, he just misses the touch. Missed the touch completely.
Whoa.
And that one is going to be tough to swallow.
That's rough. Not how you want to start if you're the Knights. It just has not worked. Space Station have dominated on the pitch in the first game.
About 70% of the game, the Knights were stuck in their own half. 70%.
That is effectively the clamp, if you will, James.
Not much you can do. In that 30% that they were upfield, they weren't really able to do much. There was the one play that they squeezed out, but it was a rough first game for the Knights.
You know, 11 shots on net for Space Station, comparatively 6 for Pittsburgh, and I mean, there was a couple of good things that we saw from the Knights at the beginning of the game, but then Space Station, I mean, there was a point where they were jumping to the thirds, and then this goal was just wonderfully executed by the entire team.
I love that goal. That, to me, was the goal of this game so far, the series. Typical getting that pass off the ceiling, knowing that he's going to keep possession, and then he goes for the demo and opens up the path. It was a wonderful, well-thought-out play. The pass over to, I believe, Arsenal, yes. The pass from AXB over to Arsenal set it up wonderfully. They have been looking good. Fantastic.
And the Knights have been trying to find passes on that on the transition downfield, but the issue has been consistently in midfield, winning 50s, and then their passing lanes are just shut down. Like they're getting met at every single stage, and boost has been an important factor. The Knights weren't able to collect, it felt, any boost on the other side of the pitch when they did get on offense because they were already stretching after Space Station had starved them earlier. So I just felt Space Station, they played a complete game in game one. The Knights, they have to start winning.
And that one mistake, the one mistake from Reddles, he just drove right by the ball. He was trying to control it, trying to get the ball rolling over to the side, and just whiffed on it.
So the Knights looking for a way back in. And there will be nothing there for Reddles. AJ back over to Gyro. And AXB on the carry. He's denied by Reddles. Reddles looking for another touch, but taken away by Typical. The Knights trying to lock down midfield, something they could not do in game one. Reddles, light touch. Arsenal forced back, but he has the touch well handled. But Space Station now struggling to find the clear, but Arsenal had all day to go for that. Now with that one low bounce off the ramp. Gyro, Reddles is downfield, but AXB cuts off the lane. I mean, there's some space here for Space Station against the Knights. Off the ceiling, Gyro has this read. But it's AXB's ball in the third. He'll take a shot towards the net. It's high and taken away for now. Reddles on point. He pops over one. Arsenal waiting.
Arsenal's going to stay with it. Reddles slowing him down. AXB, a good chip. Bullies it past AJ. Gets the flick towards the net. Reddles had to dive in to make that save.
And Arsenal just gets in front beautifully. Done on the 50 from Arsenal. And Space Station still on the Knights half. Reddles will get a clear for now. But Arsenal will take it away on the backside. Gyro. His touch will only be for AXB. And the Knights with AJ, nothing. Reddles will bang it against the corner for Gyro. They do continue the touch. There's a shot potentially, but then bump got Typical, who gets back And a little bit of panic from Spacestation in the air, but they come away.
Not the prettiest of defensive moments there for Spacestation, but they were still not punished. Knights perhaps starting to hit a rhythm.
Well, AXB cuts off the deep pass to Reddles in midfield, takes a shot and nothing. Oh, and Gyro thinking that challenge was going to come. Oh, they're in Gyro's head right now. He's thinking the challenge is going to come. They fooled him twice. Now Arsenal taking the pass from AXB, and Gyro getting the bump, and Reddles will take the ball away. But it's Spacestation right now, up high. Sypical has to read, but he couldn't touch the ball. And it's taken away. AXB, no good. Reddles will boom it downfield for the Knights. Another high ball for AJ. AXB just catches it. AXB sat there the whole time in midfield, and AJ ended up giving it right to him. Here's a bump. It gives the net a chance for the Knights, but nothing. AXB on the rotation back had the save. Spacestation.
Oh, and AJ half rotated with no boost, and he's got no boost on the outlet. This is going to be tough to defend.
And then picking it up, Reddles, he wins, but again, jumping back is Arsenal again on the save. That's the third save Arsenal has had this game to deny the Knights a goal. Gyro and Reddles back over to AJ. It's just a 50 and pray for the Knights right now. Reddles is trying to get a pass over to Gyro. He does find it, but he had to stretch the entire field.
And there's that Reddles we know getting a double demo. The challenge coming out, if that challenge gets won after the double demo,
AXB,
it's going to be a goal.
Oh, if he had a little bit more boost, he would have had another touch as well. AXB, he had that flick, and then the win on the 50, like you said, James, to just the double demo completely neutralized from Reddles. Dangerous ball in front of the box. Reddles staying with it, had to stay right behind it, but still, Spacestation press. AXB back, he says thanks for the space, but he could not get enough juice on the ball. Sypical around the corner. I mean, Spacestation, they're owning the Knights right now. The Knights have spent, it feels like, again, a total of about maybe a minute in the blue half of on the blue half of the pitch. Sypical, he's got AXB on the wing. He'll carry it himself off the backboard. He does have to contend with a defender, and AJ will take it away. Still 0-0, despite the control that Spacestation have shown. They have not been able to find the back of the net.
And this is going to be an interesting game to watch finish out. If Spacestation get the win here, you feel like the series is in the bag for them. However, week one, the Knights battled back and were able to get a reverse sweep, but Spacestation is a different story. Gyro having to stretch to make that.
Oh, AXB sitting in midfield. Oh, that's a big mistouch or a whiff, whatever you want to call it. He couldn't find it, but the Knights weren't expecting it.
Sypical, yeah, he had a clear line to that ball.
Oh, Reddles, that ball up high. It's going to be AXB's. He's got a little bit more and can't exactly win the 50. Arsenal wants one more chance off the side wall. We'll play it slow. He gets bumped out of the way, but the ball's in front of the box. A nice catch by AJ. He'll flip it over Sypical, but AXB wants to keep it in play, and it will be killed. Game 2 overtime.
And that was a good stop. AJ, it looked like his play would be enough to force overtime right there, but still kept up for a brief moment. Now it's all riding on the next goal. Not the greatest hit from Gyro. AJ getting bumped as well.
AXB right towards the box, taken away by Reddles. Gyro just getting chipped. It's Spacestation who's been the better physical team in this game. There's been so many chips and bumps that have just thrown everybody off. Here's Arsenal off the backboard, taken away. AXB pops this up. He'll take it himself. Keeps it close on the arrow.
And that was such an important backboard read from Reddles. If he misses that, Arsenal is gonna hit that double tap and end the game right there, Jorby.
And still, it's AXB hunting in the third. He's just winning that touch clean. The Knights slower to the ball.
Now shot coming in.
Oh,
Arsenal far post! And that was a zinger right past the defense.
And Gyro, he tried to find that clear. Sypical just got in his way, which just prevented any sort of substance whatsoever. And that was just the result of relentless pressure from Spacestation. And that same sequence we saw 6 times in a row before they finally found the goal.
And AJ, he was on the wall, but if you look back at the replay, he was so far away from the net. And he had a lot of boost in the tank. If he's sitting, you know, he's probably expecting a shot more near post, but as soon as that shot goes far post, he used up all his boost. He wasn't even really that close to making the save.
No, not at all. And again, the Knights, they had some good transitions down the pitch this game, but the passing isn't there. Every time they get on offense, Space Station make their lives completely difficult. The Knights have to get more creative. They have to start generating their own chances. Space Station are playing mistake-free defense.
They are for the most part. There was a few instances where they looked like they were a little bit shaky, but nothing egregious. Nothing egregious from Space Station. It's just offensively, Space Station is holding all the cards. You can see them playing much more aggressive, going for the passing plays, and working as a team. We saw moments of that from the Knights, but it just wasn't enough, and now things are getting dire. And AJ, again, down there at the bottom on the scoreboard, 156 points this game, and there was a period last game where he spent half the game and almost didn't really touch the ball at all. He had 8 points.
He doesn't look comfortable.
And so, yeah, it's just, this is what we're seeing from the Knights is are they ever going to hit their stride? But Space Station, you have to give them credit. They are a very difficult team. The Knights have a lot in front of them playing against a team like Space Station, who might be the favorites in North America. Honestly, they took down NRG.
They certainly look like it. They are a complete team so far this season. That is a save. And AXB almost puts it in, but Gyro picks up a save as well. So Space Station come out the gates in game 3, already firing. 3 shots on net, and Gyro almost dunked Sipical, but then taken away by Arsenal again. Here's another shot bounced up, and Arsenal comes up with another save. The dude is a mastermind in front of the net today.
Arsenal, he just saved them a goal. This easily could have been a very early lead for the Knights, but Arsenal, what a stop. And now Reddles going for the center ball. Arsenal again pops it high. It'll be tough for AJ to get a shot. He goes for the bounce pass, but AXB able to clear that out.
That's the best look that the Knights have had at a pass in front of the box all series. And we'll see if they can keep this pressure up. Pacifical, a great approach. He had that catch, let the ball drop in front of him, and then put his nose right behind the ball. It was beautifully done off the ramp. And now Space Station start to move forward off of that. Arsenal, that's AXB as well. That was probably the most egregious mistake.
Oh, this is it.
It'll give Reynolds the goal. AJ was following close, but Reynolds will take credit, and it's 1-0 the Knights.
Reynolds says, hey, I did all the hard work. I'm going to take this goal for myself. Jumping right in front of AJ.
Like, I got it, bro. I got this. I mean, that's good for the Knights. This is their first lead.
And all season long, Reynolds has been playing well. Really, the one mistake was on defense near the end of game 1 where he missed that hit. But other than that, Reynolds still playing quality Rocket League. And now another goal for AJ after a bump. Reynolds rotated through, got the bump. Sipical couldn't turn, and the net was wide open for him.
Yeah, and AXB's touch was only for AJ. Really, if AXB had a chance of clearing that one out, he was hoping for a more straight arrow touch, if you will. And the Knights will absolutely collect a third, maybe? Oh, no, it bounces right off the post. There's the third for Reynolds, his second. 3-0, the Knights.
Kickoff's not going so well. AJ was cheating up so fast on the kickoff. The ball bounces. He was right on its tail. Doesn't get the goal, but the rebound comes out. Reynolds gets his second of the game. Space Station, see if they can figure things out on kickoff. No, it goes right to Reynolds. Another situation you don't want to be in, where you give up possession right to the opposing team. Gyro going for the air bump.
Oh, Reynolds was a little far up on the play. He did get back to make that touch on top of the demo on AXB. Arsenal, he slows this down. He's got Reynolds to beat up high. One more to beat down low off the backboard. Sipical wants the shot. Arsenal tried to play the bully. Shot from AXB, save from Reynolds. Popped up in front of the box, and Reynolds will clear this away. Sipical's on his way out. AXB.
You love that defensive series, Jorby. That flip reset pass off the backboard from Arsenal, you thought it might be enough to get past the Knights.
If he had only gotten that bump, but he ran out of boost, so he wasn't able to chase the defender down off the line.
It was a fun play to watch. However, the Knights, they're a team, when things get dire, they know how to play.
Well, Gyro having to come in, second man, Sipical. attempted clear. He'll be challenged. AJ in front of Arsenal. Reddles next man. He'll have the catch. Has the flick. Sypical on the rotation. Has the save. Reddles trying to keep it in play. And Sypical will win big time. Take midfield boost. Does he have anything else? No. Gyro will play it out to the corner. Space Station need a goal, and they need it quickly. Arsenal forced to 50, but you see Space Station just waiting for that angle. AXB's next. He has the space down to Sypical. The shot will be high, and Gyro will play it away.
That stop from Sypical was good. He was going up against Reddles, who, if Reddles wins that 50-50 out into the middle, it's another scoring chance for the Knights.
Ooh. Knights are really taking advantage of Space Station right now on some of these plays where they're feigning challenges, or like Reddles earlier, he was in the corner and he acted like he was going to touch it, then didn't. Gyro just did so a couple of seconds ago. And the Knights, they have Space Station really guessing. It's the most pushed we've seen Space Station so far this series. And that 3-goal lead makes them feel desperate.
And we're also seeing desperation after all the demos and the aggression. The play almost coming out from Reddles was low on boost. Maybe had enough to get it if he played it perfectly. However, we're approaching the final minute. A 3-goal lead. That is comfortable for the Knights.
AXB, the catch up, but it will be Gyro's ball. And just well handled by the Knights. There were a couple of transitions for Space Station where they could have easily gotten back into this game, but solid defensive rotations and solid touches on defense. This one was a little troublesome, but AXB far back. He wanted the pass to Arsenal. Space Station essentially pulling the goalie on that play. Sypical still got back to get a save. Does not matter. AJ off the pass. Gyro will save it.
Just want to get into the next game.
Why not?
But in terms of boost, there's still boost struggles going on. AJ and Gyro spending over half the game with less than 25 boost, as opposed to Reddles, who's only had 20% of the game under 25. He has been finding ways to get the boost, keep the pressure on. But the Knights, they're making it work.
Well, this one off the backboard, and some of that, I think for Gyro, I've seen him just try to air dribble the ball consistently. He was using a lot of boost that game to just carry the ball down the field and try to make a good 50 or a good challenge. Either way, the Knights, you take it, a couple of good kickoffs at the beginning, and all you got to do is hold that 3-goal lead, which you rarely see blown in the RLCS. They do confirm the shutout.
Knights, they get the response. Reddles, again, he's leading the charge for the squad. Sypical, he gets beat in the corner by Reddles. Reddles has been such a savage in those corners as well, attacking the ball, going for those extra touches, extra plays, ready to go for the bumps. We saw him clear the path for AJ on his bump on Sypical. So we're seeing a little bit of the Knights of old in this series so far, Jordan.
We definitely are, and they haven't gone completely back to the demo game, and I think one thing that helped the Knights was that they weren't getting chipped as much as they were in the first 2 games of the set. Those kickoff goals really forced Space Station to approach the game a lot differently than they did in games 1 and 2. So if Space Station can just shore up the kickoff at the beginning of the game, I think
it'll be a different story.
I think so.
But you can't just give away goals, and on kickoff, finding ways to make sure you're not just setting up the other team for a quick cheat goal is so important. Having a player go and just being good enough at kickoffs to at least put the ball in play so you're not going to instantly be in scoring position, it's a very tough thing to do. And all the way up to the pros, you see that it's almost impossible to prevent completely. But if there's any extra focus that you could put on it, now's the time. We see a good kickoff now from Sypical.
But Gyro will pick it up. Sypical booming it over to AXB. Arsenal's downfield, but Reddles will respond with his own. Sypical off the ceiling. Nothing. AXB a solid enough touch.
And you saw Reddles, he was actually going for the bump in air as well. We saw him complete the double demo last game, but it wasn't enough to score a goal on that chance. However, aggression, it did well for Knights last season, trying to bring it back.
Did well for Space Station as well. And Arsenal, league leader in demos in Season 8. That shot wide angle for AXB, but he collects easily. Space Station with a lead.
And this kind of reminds you of the Shock overtime goal. It's deep in the corner. This one a little further out, but another tough angle. AJ was in net. He had boost. He was waiting for something, but he was not expecting that high shot, and it beat him out completely.
Reddles cheating up on the kickoff. Gyro. He does get it by Sipical, but Sipical will now attempt to handle this. Reddles, he stole the boost. Now he has the ball. Just nothing but the Knights with control. How do they take it? Gyro pass. Packed up to AJ. AJ got another touch onto it, but it is cleared away. Reddles forced back to his own back wall. The Knights are starting to win more of these challenge situations. Ooh, that ball a little fast for AJ.
Now AJ on empty. Trying to get back. Won't have much to keep this out if a shot comes in anytime soon.
Oh, Reddles on that dodge on his way down. Got it past the attacker. Now Gyro and AJ try to keep things going for the Knights. Arsenal in his own corner. The challenge by AJ sends it to the back wall. AXB can't win against Gyro. One to beat now for Arsenal. He makes it difficult for Reddles. Reddles wins the touch in front of the box, but the rest of the Knights, AJ waiting for that touch from AXB. Now a shot taken away by Sipical. Gyro couldn't find the touch. Chance for Sipical on the transition. Flicks on the dribble. Reddles has the save, but here comes Arsenal. Shot is good. Arsenal confirms 2 for Space Station.
And this all comes after AJ decided to go for this shot. He had Gyro in the middle. A pass there perhaps could have beaten Space Station, but after the weak flick from AJ, the counter attack was on. And Space Station extend their lead after a beautifully executed counterattack.
Arsenal is still that same aggressive player. Still likes to get up, look for redirects downfield, look for bumps, demos, all that fun stuff, but he has been just putting in the goals and finding, just creating chances for Space Station, as well as being great on the netminder, and Arsenal's just praising you. Give AXB a shot there, but he'll take that dribble on the challenge. Sipical will pick this up now. Nothing really working there for Sipical. AXB high up in front of the box. The Knights have to stop the bleeding, but they're struggling to clear this ball out. They're just finding these long clears, and they're forced to do this.
And Sipical, he was waiting there for so much time. AJ eventually came up to challenge, but Space Station content to let this time melt off the clock.
What a shot. AXB puts it into the top, has his first touch off the seal.
And he has almost no boost left. He's sitting at 20. He has to pre-flip to get the shot. Reddles was empty, so he can't make the save. The pre-flip shot from AXB, perfect placement.
Perfect read on the bounce, everything.
And he went for it. He must have known that Reddles was low boost. They must have been calling it out low boost.
And if Reynolds hadn't already been going for it, that might have been the tell. Either way, the Knights, they got a 3-0 win, and Space Station respond with a 3-0 lead of their own in Game 4. The Knights just looking for any sort of room. It is looking much more like the first 2 games, or anything the Knights were doing just weren't working, and the Knights have found a little more room to work with in Game 4, but for the most part, it's just been touches like this where you beat one guy, and then your next man has to stretch.
They're just giving up possession, and we even saw the second goal, the counterattack goal from Space Station, was a result of just giving up the possession and lobbing in a shot towards net. When you need to look for that one extra pass or slow the ball down, try to get demos on the goal line, you have to do something. You can't just fling the ball over there and expect it to get by multiple Space Station defenders in net.
Reynolds does have the save. It's an open net for AJ. He will convert. So Knights start the clock as low as the clock may be, but it's something.
Sipical, as third man, dove in right there. Ill-advised, as now the 2v0 counterattack was on.
As you would say, risky.
It was an all-in play.
You're up 3-0 with less than a minute. I guess you could take one. You can take a couple.
But with how how much better the Knights have been off kickoff, you don't want to risk it.
That's true, but they did send that one off, and the Knights are forced to dive for that save and somehow come up with another. It was Gyro. There's still a little bit of time. AJ against Arsenal. Arsenal ends up winning the ball. Reynolds tries to take it away. Again, closed on the gap. AXB, he will have a goal. 4 with 15 seconds remaining. Space Station Gaming dominant in game 4.
And a hat trick for AXB. AJ a step too slow. AXB's shooting has been on point. That time, his speed beating out AJ to get that hat trick. And I hope you have him on fantasy, because he has scored a lot of points.
After the last few weeks, I don't know how you don't pick up AXB. There's so much value with this player this season. AJ wants one more for the road. He won't get it. The Pittsburgh Knights handed another loss in Space Station, keeping their bid alive for top 2.
And this was dominating. This, to me, didn't even really look that close.
I don't feel like...
It did not even look that close. Space Station was in comfortable control.
I don't think there was a single, bead of sweat on Space Station at all. I wasn't sweating.
In Space Station, they have to be feeling wonderful about that win. They take down NRG. They take down the Knights. Who else in North America is left standing in their way? Right now, G2 is a team that can be competing up there, but now they're making a strong case for being that top 2 team. And the conversation's only going to get more interesting as these next weeks come together.
AXB, man. This guy is popping off this season. It is so awesome to watch. Before it was all right, AXB's fitting in sometimes.
Typical. He was the MVP last season. He had a crazy season, scoring all these goals, amazing shots. Arsenal was up there, getting demos, getting goals, being aggressive.
AXB on the sticks, man.
Now he's doing it.
It's so fun. He got the pre-flip shot. Man, that guy's feeling good. I feel good watching AXB play well. That's fun. And so, I want to see the Knights figure this out in the rest of their season. This team, I think, is better than what they've shown so far, but they have to get it figured out.
Lots of hot and cold.
Really the last loss they can afford. We got one more game coming up to finish off the day. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.